25 years ago, the Yellowknife Community Foundation began with a simple concept: that people working together can make a difference. From our humble beginnings in 1993, we have grown to inspire and help build a healthy and resilient community. The work that we do and the contributions you make are our way to give back for the enduring future. Wherever we invest, we work to enhance the quality of life in our community, and our goal is to make sure that your donation has a lasting impact long after the original gift was made. We're working to help end poverty, promote arts and culture, sport and recreation, and community development. We support quality education and promote good health and well-being, and so much more. Yellowknife is a city with a golden past and a brilliant future. Over the next year, we invite you to join us in celebrating our 25th anniversary and to look beyond the horizon to what the next 25 years could bring. We are the Yellowknife Community Foundation. This is our story. The history of the Yellowknife Community Foundation is the history of Yellowknife. Yellowknife was a very different place in 1991 when the idea for a community foundation was first proposed. It was a city of gold on the edge of the tundra. It had been over 50 years since the first gold brick was poured at Konge Mine, but there was a change on the horizon that would propel the city onto the world stage: the discovery of diamonds. The discovery was kept secret for almost 4 months, but when news broke, it sparked the largest staking rush in North American history. 40 million acres were staked over an 18-month period from Yellowknife to the shores of the Arctic Ocean. Yellowknife was truly on the map. All the while, we kept working quietly, building momentum, until finally, on June 1st, 1993, the Yellowknife Community Foundation was incorporated as a charity. That same year, the Legislative Assembly was officially opened. It was the first building in 72 years built specifically for the Northwest Territories government.
This historic day marks the end of a long journey that began in Regina in 1905. The seat of government in the Northwest Territories moved to Ottawa. Council members met in gyms, community halls, and schools across the north. In 1990, the final decision was made to construct a new assembly building. This is truly a unique occasion. In this country, you have a greater chance of seeing a total eclipse of the sun than you do of seeing the opening of a new legislative building.
On January 13th, 1994, we received our first donation to the Community Fund, and our years of work began to come to life. Later that same year, Queen Elizabeth II stopped in the city on her tour of northern Canada and officially dedicated the Legislative Assembly.
Since Prince Philip and I were here last, much has changed. Yellowknife, while retaining its identity as a mining community carved out of a wilderness, is now a modern and dynamic capital.
By 1996, construction at Canada's first diamond mine was well and truly underway, and quietly, back in Yellowknife, 25 donors had built a small capital fund of $66,000, including a $10,000 donation from Ed Baker. Through that generosity, we reached an historic milestone when we were able to give our first 2 grants to Side Door and the Ed Baker Center that same year. 1998 saw the world come to Yellowknife not once, but twice. First, for the 15th Biennial Arctic Winter Games, and second, for the official opening of a Caddy Diamond Mine. That year, we were also able to give grants to the Yellowknife Women's Center, NWT Special Olympics, the Yellowknife Senior Society, the Youth Volunteer Corps, and the Yellowknife Ski Club, who this year are celebrating their 50th anniversary. As the year 2000 approached and Canada's newest territory, Nunavut, was created, our first 2 named funds were established, the Fine and Performing Arts Fund, and a Jenny Gamble Fournier Scholarship. Y2K came and went without event, and by the end of that year, we had reached nearly $200,000 in our capital fund, and things were really getting going. Within the space of 2 years, the Mary Beth Miller Scholarship, the Chris Argy Memorial Fund, the Lily Borges Oldham Second Language Scholarship, and the Lorraine Minish Cooper Memorial Funds were established. We were also able to make contributions to the Yellowknife Polar Bear Swim Club, the Canadian Mental Health Association, the Yellowknife Foster Family Association, and the Canadian National Institute for the Blind. By the time our 10th anniversary rolled around in 2003, Diavik Diamond Mine officially opened. The Clinchon Agreement was signed. The Northern Aviation Scholarship was established, and we had provided nearly 40 grants and were closing in on almost 1,000 donors. But our watershed year was about to come.
The boomtown of Yellowknife in Canada's Northwest Territories hits news headlines again as a rich gold fault is found directly under its main street. In the summer of 1945, one of the greatest hard rock gold rushes of history was on. Ever since, prospectors have been swarming into the north in quest of the magic metal. More than 10,000 claims are now filed with the Dominion government. Overnight, Yellowknife springs up from a tent town into a city of shacks. Most commodities must be hauled over 1,000 miles by rail and water, or if you're rich, by air.
Don Hurd had been donating annually to the foundation since 1995. He had come to Yellowknife in 1945 during the gold boom and immediately fell in love with the North. When he passed in 2003, he and his late wife's final gift was a bequest of $1.6 million to the Yellowknife Community Foundation. It had taken us 10 years to reach our first $1 million, and Hurd's generosity was a powerful catalyst for positive change in Yellowknife. – 2004 marked a turning point in the history of Yellowknife. While it was still a city built by gold, the final bricks had been poured at both Giant and Con mines, and Yellowknife's golden past had met its brilliant future. Both Acadie and Diavik were in full swing. The population had gone from just over 15,000 in 1991 to nearly 20,000 in 2006, and by the end of that same year, we were fast approaching $2 million in our capital fund. The Gary Robinson Memorial Fund was established. The David Sutherland Scholarship was set up. An actor and Yellowknifer Dustin Milligan had established the Enough Talk, Hurry Up and Do It Already Arts Scholarship. In 2007, a television program would air that would change the way people looked at Yellowknife, ice roads, and diamond mines, and would entertain and delight audiences around the world. The program, Ice Road Truckers. Nearly 40 years after the first Arctic Winter Games was hosted in Yellowknife, it was time for the event to return. By the time the torch was lit, the Yellowknife Historical Society and Walter Gibbons Memorial Funds were created, and the foundation continued to grow at an extraordinary pace.
What I've done is boiled water in the kettle, so it's boiling water. We're gonna pour it in here, and then throw it in the air, and it's gonna evaporate. Ready?
Oh, wow!
In the lead up to the 2010 Vancouver Games, the Olympic torch passed through Yellowknife on a 106-day cross-Canada tour. It also marked the beginning of a very busy period for the foundation. We held our inaugural fundraising gala, had given out over $250,000 in grants and scholarships. We supported the Thibault sculpture at City Hall, the Bailey Transitional House, and Avon Cottage, in addition to adding an incredible 9 named funds, including Pat McMahon Memorial Fund, the Aurora College Scholarship, the Elaine Sweet Whitford Scholarship, the Jonas Konge Memorial Fund, the John Tumchewics Memorial Fund, the David J. Ramsden Memorial Scholarship, the Randy McBride Hockey Project Fund, Helping Children Soar Scholarship, and the Con Employees Benevolent Fund. 2009 also saw the launch of the successful Ice Pilots NWT. By the time 2011 rolled around, we had surpassed the $3 million mark in our capital fund, just in time for the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge to arrive in Yellowknife, the fourth and most northerly stop on their Canadian tour. We had given out over $500,000 in scholarships and grants, including our single largest grant at the time to Betty House, now known as Lynn's Place. Over the next few years, as Yellowknife continued to develop, so too would the Yellowknife Community Foundation.
Ready to declare the bridge officially open. Hip, hip.
In 2012, the Decho Bridge officially opened, and it was the first year-round road link between Yellowknife and the rest of the country. Over those 5 years, we would support Habitat for Humanity NWT, commit $50,000 to the Avens Expansion Project, and continue our 20-year support of the Yellowknife Senior Society Lunch with a Bunch and the Side Door Youth Center. A few years later, the Gashokwe mine would officially open, and in 2016, the Con Mine headframe, once a symbol of Yellowknife's rich gold mining heritage, would come down. On Mars, NASA would name a geologic formation in the Galley crater on the planet after the city, and back on Earth, the Foundation's capital was approaching $4 million, and we added 9 named funds, including the Albert Hall Seniors Enhancement Fund, Barbara Bromley Memorial Fund, Diavik Community Scholarship, Douglas Bothamley Memorial Fund, Friends of Fred Carmichael Scholarship, Legislative Assembly Scholarship, Luc Charpentier Memorial Fund, Sally Manning Writing Fund, and the Wally 12 Million Fund. It was a decision that was made in 1991 that helped us create the Yellowknife Community Foundation. It was that decision that has led us on the path we are on now. From day one, we have embodied the simple concept that people working together can make a difference. Our mission? To enhance the quality of life of the citizens of Yellowknife and the surrounding area. We've distributed over $1 million in grants and scholarships since our inception, and our capital fund is fast approaching $5 million. Imagine what we'll be able to achieve in the next 25 years with your support. We are the Yellowknife Community Foundation.